All right, we are now getting a breaking input on the very same story. Now, two senior officials of the Karnataka State Cricket Association, Secretary A. Shankar and Treasurer E.S. Jairam, have resigned from their positions, citing moral responsibility for the Stampede during the Royal Challengers Bengaluru IPL victory celebration. Now, the resignation letters have been submitted to the KSCA President Raghuram Bhat, and the two have been stated that even though their role was very limited in the unforeseen and unfortunate incident, they were tendering resignation to their respective posts owing moral responsibility. I'm now joined by CNN News 18 Sudat Bhardwaj on this broadcast. Sudat, take us through the details of the resignation letters that has now been submitted by the treasurer of the KSCA and by the secretary of the KSCA.
I guess, you know, after the stampede that Bengaluru saw, you losing 7 lives in the process, we have seen that there have been a series of suspensions from the government itself, right from suspending Bengaluru's top cop, CM Siddaramaia's political secretary was sacked from his position, and you know, there was also pressure on the KSCA to see that some action was taken. An FIR was of course registered against them, but all of them approached the Karnataka High Court yesterday and you know, ensured the Karnataka High Court gave orders in this regard where no coercive action was to be taken against any of the 3 petitioners. That included the secretary, the treasurer and the honorary president of the KSCA as well. But right now, according to press release that they have released, last night itself they in fact sent a resignation letter to KSCA President Raghuram Bhat. Both the treasurer Jairam as well as the secretary Shankar, they have said that owing to moral responsibility as a result of the stampede, they were tendering their resignation to their respective posts. They've even gone on to mention that even though their role was limited in the entire unforeseen and unfortunate circumstances, they were still going to tender their resignation. So yes, this is an action that is coming in from the KSCA side. But once again, we see resignations and suspensions and compensations all around. But truly, are the ones who are responsible for this mishap going to be held accountable at all? Part of them, of course, we have seen some action being taken against RCB, the KSCA, and of course the DNA networks management as well. But a lot needs to be done to ensure that justice is truly served for those who only came to witness a joyous moment but ended up losing their lives.
Absolutely. That is, of course, an unfortunate incident where a celebration has in fact turned into a nightmare. I request you, Sudha, to please stay with us. Now, of course, a lot of talks are happening as to who is really accountable, who is responsible for the entire mishap that took place during the victory celebration. Now, the cops aren't the only ones who are facing the heat. Now, when we talk about the major developments that has taken since the entire mishap, Siddaramaia's political secretary has now been dismissed in the aftermath of the mishap that took place after the victory celebration. Now, the another development in the case is the FIR against RCB, DNA and Cricket Association has also been made. Remember, there are 3 FIRs and that is against RCB and the marketing team, and the RCB marketing head Nikhil Sosle has in fact been arrested. He has also been sent to the judicial custody. Now, DNA event management company staffers have also been held as far as the mishap is concerned. Now, there is a relief for the Cricket Association, the Karnataka Cricket Association President, Secretary and Treasurer. But like we pointed out, the Secretary and the Treasurer have resigned on the moral grounds. Now, we just in fact gave you the details about how the KSCA Treasurer as well as the Secretary have in fact resigned from their position. Let me now go back to my colleague Sudat Bhardwaj on this. So that when we talk about a number of dismissal, number of sacking that has taken place, the accountability that the BJP is asking is not just confined to the police administration or to the RCB or the KSCA. They are also pointing fingers at the Karnataka cabinet, specifically to the Chief Minister and the Deputy Chief Minister.
In fact, yes, that's why the BJP in fact went, recently even filed a complaint with the Cubbon Park Police saying that action must be taken against CM Siddaramaiah, Deputy CM D.K. Shivakumar and Home Minister G. Parameshwara, saying that they were accountable for this mishap as well. Of course, an FIR has not been lodged, but the BJP has time and again maintained that This was on the orders of the government. The government should have been in charge of the program at the Vidhan Soudha and to also see that the program outside the Chinnaswamy Stadium was carried out smoothly. They have failed in this regard. The police have not been given clear directions, have not been given clear SOPs to see that the celebration and the felicitation take place in a smooth manner. That is what eventually led to the mishap outside the Chinnaswamy Stadium, the confusion, the chaos that eventually led to the stampede. So yes, clearly the government too has to own up more responsibility in this regard. In fact, CM Siddaramaiah and others too have admitted that there is an intelligence failure, and eventually intelligence does come under CM Siddaramaiah himself. So definitely there is a clear role of the government, and as per the order that was given, suspending Vidhan and the Bengaluru Police Commissioner and several other top cops in the city with regards to the Bengaluru Central Division. They have said that the police did not consult the government about the steps they were taking and the communication that was going around with RCB. This is the reason that has been cited. But what we hear from police sources is that, in fact, the police had clearly warned the government not to hold a program at the Vidhan Soudha at all. But once again, the government goes on to say that they had given permission for the program only at the Vidhan Soudha, and it was RCB who eventually held the program at the Chinnaswamy Stadium. So clearly a lot of communication lapse that has taken place. The government should have clearly been in touch with RCB to see, or at least finalize one venue where the entire celebration would happen to avoid unnecessary confusion, as eventually people thought it was a free program at the Chinnaswamy Stadium, rushed there as well, and the chaos eventually led to the mishap. So clearly the government has a lot to own up to here. They too have to own up to the moral responsibility, given that this incident is a direct failure. This is what the BJP too continues to demand. The government though remains defiant, saying that the police, the KSCA and DNA networks are purely responsible for this.
Also, so that when we talk about the letter that has been accessed by CNN News 18 by the government to the Karnataka Cricket Association, that also specifically put out the conditions that there are in fact some restrictions as far as the celebration parade is concerned. So who was it in the Karnataka Cricket Association that decided that we have to go ahead with the celebration?
Well, specifically, it's of course going to be the top management of the KSCA. The decision, of course, would have been taken by Chief Raghuram Bhat, the secretary and the treasurer as well. And of course, the honorary president. In fact, the honorary president, the secretary Shankar and the chief were one of the three petitioners who went, and moved the Karnataka High Court, asking for no coercive action to be taken against them. So, of course, this is the decision making of the KSCA as well. In fact, we have seen that on June 3rd, a letter was written by the KSCA to the Department of Personnel and Administrative Reforms under the Karnataka government, asking for permission for the program to be held at the Vidhan Soudha. They have said that the program should be held at the Vidhan Soudha, felicitation should happen, a celebration should happen, and the government accordingly has reciprocated on the 4th, saying that in case a program is held at the Vidhan Soudha, the organizers are going to be fully responsible for any mishap. Again, this raises a lot of questions about how exactly that works. The government cannot, give permission to the organizers to hold an event and then completely shrug off any responsibility from it. It is after all the seat of power. It is after all where the government is there. They should have ensured that the security is not only taken place well or taken care of well inside the Vidhan Soudha but outside as well. Because you clearly saw how inside the Vidhan Soudha as well there was a clear security breach. I was there witnessing and reporting from the Vidhan Soudha itself. There were clear visuals showing how people eventually were able to barge into the Vidhan Soudha, and they were just meters away from the players. While we avoided anything untoward in the Vidhan Soudha, there was definitely a high risk of any of these hooligans or any of the ones from the unruly crowd to come in contact with the players and pose a risk to many of the marquee players from the squad. So something untoward in the Vidhan Soudha has been thwarted off, but that doesn't, mean that the government can completely shrug off responsibility from here. Just to say that the organizers are completely responsible for any mishap and they should take complete charge of it. It is still the seat of power and the government has to take responsibility. Just placing conditions for the KSCA, saying that they can hold, they can, go ahead with the program at the Vidhan Soudha if it means they take full responsibility. It does not send a clear message at all, given that it is after all where the government is.
Absolutely. So a lot of questions are being raised as far as Karnataka government is concerned. Many thanks, Sudhar, for getting us all those details. We'll keep coming back to you for the latest.